What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to your latest dose of Manchester United transfer news. And there is transfer news, legitimate transfer news. We did have another video planned, actually. And we went, you know what? Now's not the time. Now's not the time for that video. We've got to talk about this. Mason Mount, there has been a bid for Manchester United of £40 million that has been rejected. We are going to get straight into that. And also big transfer news is that Man United, which could be music to a lot of you guys' ears who didn't even want Kane, have ended their pursuit of Harry Kane, according to the Guardian's Jamie Jackson. Big up Jamie Jackson. But straight off the bat, Owen, let's get into the Mason Mount situation. You guys smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I really want to get your thoughts on this.
Yes, so as you mentioned, developing news, breaking news, if you will, in the last few minutes, about 15 or 20 minutes or so, it was reported by Matt Law from the Daily Telegraph that Manchester United today had a first bid of £40 million rejected by Chelsea for Mason Mount. However, Manchester United do remain confident that he indeed is not going to stay at Chelsea and he will not sign a new contract with the club. This was almost expected that this opening bid wasn't going to be accepted. We know that United value Mount at his current rate of having 1 year left on his contract at around 50 to 55 million pounds. Chelsea, meanwhile, they value him, rather, that's probably a better word of saying it, at around 70, 75, even 80 million pounds plus add-ons. So Chelsea add-ons. So according to Fabrizio Romano as well, there is no plan to accept this £40 million fee for Mason Mount. Man United, though, they are planning on bidding again. So this was, if you will flex, the opening volley in the Mason Mount pursuit. So £40 million, Chelsea have said no. Not the only £40 million bid they've had for a player today. Of course, Arsenal put in £40 million for Kai Havertz too.
Cheek of them fans, by the way. We'll get that later. Cheek of them.
So yes, but a bid officially going in. Is that the first bid that United have put in for any player this summer? I believe it is, officially, anyway, that we know of.
It is. And you know what? Some people don't want Mason Mount, so they're going to be annoyed at this anyway. And some people, a lot of us don't want to pay much more than 40 million quid for Mason Mount as well. So they're going to be annoyed at this. But just away from that, which we'll get to, because that's very, very important in terms of the deal. Actually, we were saying it's the first day of the transfer window. We know we've been in for Mount for a bit, personal terms, trying to talk to him. He wants to come. We know that won't be a problem. But there had been no formal bid. For the transfer window to open, and the bid goes in straight away, fair play. Fair play. We know that and not just trying to go in mad and, pay something high. Now, Owen, you have said many times that the disparity between the two sums, the two figures is what worries you. How long is it going to take, et cetera, et cetera. So 100% to get that. And I know you'll talk more about that in a minute. But from being proactive point of view, just that alone, let's leave the player out of it. What type of player do you want him? Do you not? In terms of trying to get deals done early, well, the window's just open today and we've put a bid in straight away. So that's a positive. Now into what this means that it's been rejected. Now, you can look at this two ways. You can say, well, good, Man United. Yeah, they do want 75 million, but no chance. Here's 40. Fair play. You're not trying to get your pants pulled down. But what it does mean is that it's got rejected straight away. So we know there's got to be a middle ground. And really, going as low as 40, which is what we think he's worth, a lot of us fans last year of his contract, that's probably what he's worth at max. We shouldn't really be paying over that. But now we know we're going to have to pay over that, which I always thought we was, though. I think it will be about 55 million. I really do. I think it'll be maybe 50 plus some add-ons. So maybe it could be 60 in total over the next however many years. But I think the round figure, when it roundabout gets done, I think will be between 50 and 55, which is halfway between the 70 and the 40.
Yeah, it's the weird transfer dance, isn't it? It's the weird transfer dance that is now beginning, whereby both sides knew that a £40 million bid would be rejected. United put the bid in, knowing it was going to be rejected.
Yes, it's just a kick-off negotiation.
But it's the start of the process, isn't it? This is, as I mentioned, it's the opening volley. You don't have a rally without an opening volley, and that's United's opening volley. It'll be pushed back. It already has been pushed back to United. So now they're going with another bid. I guess the frustrating part of it from a fan's point of view is you go, well, you know that you want to spend 55 or maybe 60, but 55, that's where you're looking for. Why don't you just put £55 million in? because their
No
concern
wiggle
would
room,
be,
man.
well, if that's our opening offer, we've basically said take it or leave it straight out of the gate.
Yeah,
We
no,
want
you don't do that.
we want to try and give Chelsea the feeling that they've got something out of us. Oh, we only wanted to pay 40 and you got us to 55. Oh, all right, fine. We'll give you 55. I know you wanted this. We negotiated. As I mentioned, my concern from the start has been that this massive gap in valuation between United and Chelsea. I think United are actually very logical in saying that he's worth about 50, because like you said, in reality, year left on his contract, didn't have the best season last season, but it's a Champions League winner. He's an England international, Premier League tax, English tax, homegrown tax, whatever you want to call it. Okay, go from 40 to 50. That's fair. 55 at a push. Chelsea they can want 70 million. They are not getting 70 million for Mason Mount this summer. Not even just United, just in general. If this thing was to collapse and fall apart, and let's say Liverpool were interested, or Arsenal were interested, or whoever, nobody's paying that.
No one's paying it.
No one is paying that kind of stuff. I know that's kind of like the Todd Bowley effect in that, well, damn. I'd pay 70 million. I'm not going to try to do the whole accent. I can't stretch it that far out. But he probably would, and spread it over 25 years. Your lifetime deal. Wham, bam, on the table. Damn.
Wham, bam, damn.
Wham, bam, damn. On the table. That's what he'd do.
You got serious issues. Nah, you got serious issues.
What?
You got serious issues.
Everyone loves Owen Bowley, okay? It's one of my classic characters.
Owen Bowley.
Owen Bowley. Damn right. It goes in and out. It goes in and out of actually an American accent, and it's terrible. But I've got some compliments for it. The point being is that they're not going to get that. And I think they know they're not going to get that. And Chelsea, just like United need to sell players this summer, so do Chelsea. Chelsea need to sell. They spent big last summer, last January. They ain't in Europe at all. I know they spread their cost over a decade, essentially. But if they want to do business too this summer, they're more than aware from an FFP point of view. They need to shift players on. And I think they know. They're like, we've got to sell Mason Mount, but, we don't want to get 40. But, tough poo-poo. He's got a year left on his contract. That's the way the cookie crumbles. And as the report mentions from the Telegraph too, he's not going to sign a new contract. It's very clear at the end of the season. You saw him walking around Stamford Bridge. He's made his mind up. He's out. And it must be stressed that he's also seemingly made his mind up that not only is he out of Chelsea, but his preference is to go to United.
Yeah, I think we'll get him. I think another thing to consider in terms of the negotiations that works in our favour is that Chelsea need to offload these players. They need to offload the likes of Havertz, the likes of Ziyech, the likes of Pulisic, probably the likes of Mason Mount, who doesn't want to be there, the likes of probably Loftus-Cheek. The list goes on for them of who they need to offload. But in terms of the main ones that are quite lucrative, that can bring in some good cash for them, not that cash is their problem, but their problem is they just got too many numbers, too many bodies. They have to trim this squad. And they've got a player who doesn't want to be there and is not going to sign a new contract. They have to get him gone. The same with Kai Havertz. If he goes to Arsenal, Real Madrid wanted him, whatever. That helps us because you've got to trim this squad. You can't keep asking for stupid money because nobody's going to pay it. And if that transfer window shuts or not even just shuts, as this transfer window goes on and Pochettino's like, I want this guy. I want Caicedo. I want this number 9. I don't want Lukaku. I don't want Havertz. I want whoever it is they're going to play up front with Nkunku, who's actually on his way there as well. If the squad's not trimmed, then you haven't got rid of... this is all in the forward line, You've got Ziyech. If you look at the surplus, you've got Aubameyang, which... Is that a loan that's going to end, or did they buy him? They bought him,
I think. Yeah.
Crazy. So they need to sell Aubameyang, Lukaku, Ziyech, Pulisic, Mount, and Havertz. Off the bat, that's 6. That definitely ain't got a future.
I'm sure they look at it and they say, well, we can get good money for all of them. Like we could get a lot of money in this summer. 100%. But at the same time, they also need to realize, again, that's 6 big deals. That takes time. And also you've got incomings too. And they've seen last season that if you've got too many people under contract, not enough people to fit in your dressing room, you end up finishing, where did they finish? 12th, or wherever it was in the end. That's what happens. Poch doesn't need that and he doesn't want that. So eventually there's got to be a cut-off point for them to say enough's enough. We've just got to, sorry, we effed up last season when it came to a lot of our transfer dealings. And Mason Mount's one of those people that slipped through the cracks. And I know that, sometimes United fans, it can be frustrating because we can haggle. Oh my goodness me, can we haggle and can we draw it out? But in this case, it is the right thing to do. Don't bow to the demands.
Don't bow to the demands because they can't sell him for that. Just say
No.
no. Like, and they have to get rid. They have to sell him. I know Todd Bowley has got unlimited money there at Chelsea, and they can literally they've literally afforded to have all these players just sitting there on big wages not playing, you know. But essentially that will catch up to them. The fact that they did all of that in January, they can't go and spend another 600 million in this summer. Not without. If they did do that, they'd have to get like 200 million in sales, 300 million in sales.
Can't just keep adding people, you know,
Can't
over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
They've just maxed it out within that January to get shit done and being really astute, should I say, with how they constructed deals. And Enzo Fernandez is signed for a really, really long time.
Well, they thought they were turning their season around, didn't they? They were doing the January thing of let's turn the season around, let's spend loads of money. And they got worse. And as I've said before, I know that United, bitter, whatever you want to call it, but the double standard when it comes to attention on them, because if that was United, Flex, if that was Manchester United and we were in the bottom half of the league, we'd never forget it. We'd still be turning on the TV now and United would still be that bottom half. Look at the money they spent, rah, rah, rah. Eric Ten Hag, I think it was a fan poll, I think it was a Sky Bet fan poll, they voted him the second worst manager of the season.
Oh,
only Lampard was worse. I was talking to KG on the phone about this. What, you're saying Big Sam had a better Premier League season than Eric Ten Hag? Is that what you're saying? Javi Gracia, he was much better than Ten Hag this season. Gerrard was better than Ten Hag this season. Is that what you're saying? Hated, ignored, whatever, never ignored. Hated, adored, that's it, never ignored. The point is that they're all disgraces. They all are disgrace.
100%. That's just bollocks, isn't it? That's just trolls who, when they're voting for it, are like, you know, let's just skew the votes because it's, you know, we don't like Man United, so let's just say this. So look, it is significant that bid's gone in, first bid of the window. It's a starting point. It's a benchmark to work up. I mean, what's your cutoff point, Owen? What's your cutoff point for Mason Mount where you go, nah, I ain't paying that, I'm walking off? Like, what is your maximum? Add-ons included. Like, what's your maximum?
Add-ons included. 55 plus 5. That's what I wanted to go to.
55
plus 5.
Yeah, that's realistic. In this situation, that's realistic. If it's any more than...
even that...
And even 60 million is robbery.
Even that, I'm like, I tell you what, they're taking the piss a little bit here.
Yeah. If you're Chelsea, if you're getting Mason Mount off your books for 60 M's or 55 plus add-ons, you're laughing all the way. I'm not going to say to the bank.
Or maybe 50 plus 5.
50 plus 5, yeah.
That sounds a bit better, doesn't it? I don't really want it to get to that 60 mark, even sort of, you know, everything all in. That's too much, actually. Scrap that. 50 plus 5.
Yeah, maximum.
What about you?
Or you say 45 or 40. You know how it gets quite technical? It's like 47.5 plus add-ons, like things like that. I think as long as it doesn't, the whole package doesn't eclipse
55
million, yeah, which I think it probably will just. But again, it could be rising to 56.5. It's all those little increments, isn't it? But
then that goes back to Flex talking about the transfer budget. I think it was Mike Keegan today was talking about, you know, the need for sales. And again, I think that number might be 100 million, 120 million. And it does make you worry because you go, well, and I know player sales can factor into that. And there will be players that go out the door this summer for us. But you go, all right, Mason Mount, let's say it's 50 plus 5. And we've got 100 million to spend. Half our budget's gone on Mason Mount. You know, and again, we'll sell players, so that will factor back into it. So, you know, it's not completely a clear and total picture of it. But even when you talk about Mason Mount, a year left on his contract, 50 million up front, that's a lot. That's a lot. Unnecessarily a lot. So maybe it will be a game of chicken. Maybe it's a game of chicken that they just keep waiting. They keep waiting and see how long until Chelsea get desperate? Because eventually they're going to have to break. Because like you were saying before, Flex, they've got to get people off the books. They've got to sell people. They've got to bring money in. And it's just trying to balance off how long do we wait to bring a player in and how long did they wait until they start actually going, we've got to let players go. Like this is getting silly now.
Exactly. They got a cut-off point. And That's what I mean. It's all cute while it's early right now. We're relaxed because we're like, you know, it's not like the season starts next week or tours, next week. We got time. Everyone's quite relaxed. Chelsea are like, listen, this is the first bit of negotiations we're entering into out of this whole summer. It's going to be a long summer for us. Let's feel our way into it. Let's, see what we can get. We've got the Kai Havertz situation on the phone. And honestly, them Arsenal fans. I had Arsenal fans in my mentions, ones that I know personally, taking the piss out of Man United, saying you're getting your pants pulled down for Mount, you ain't that good. Oh yeah, all that and the other. And look, some Man United fans might agree with that because they don't want Mount. That's not my point. Only for their club to go in for Kai Havertz. And obviously, again, Chelsea, the cheeky so-and-sos want another 70, 75 million for him as well. And Chelsea fans would kiss goodbye. He is awful. Like, he ain't going to score more goals than Jesus. I don't see where they're going to play him. You're not going to play him in a 10 ahead of Odegaard. You ain't going to ever start him on the wing over like Martinelli or Saka. Like, what is the plan there if they want him? And, it's just funny how football works, isn't it? Arsenal fans laughing at us for getting Mount, then their own clubs tried to go and get Havertz for similar money. Funny now, isn't it? Football's just ironic.
And suddenly he's good.
Yeah. Oh, another thing in my mentions. But Havertz is absolutely clear of Mount. Oh, he's clear of him. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Red Baron says Owen and Flex must be distraught by the Kane news. We're going to get onto the Kane news in a second. Red Baron says offer 41 million for Mount and let's see. Austin Baker says Flex, I want your opinion on the hungover JG.
Jack Grealish.
Oh, Jack. Oh, my opinion on that is Jack. Look, I've got no problem with this. He's achieved the treble. He has achieved the treble 1,000,000%. You're entitled to proper have it up. That is the pinnacle of English of the domestic game. Like, we know what it is to do a treble. So I don't care that he's having a good time, but it is very interesting to see how he's lauded and reported upon in the media. And if Raheem Sterling was still there at that club and was doing that and doing shots of Ray and Nephew and being held up by bloody John Stones because he can't walk, the narrative in the media would be very different. It wouldn't be Jack the Lad.
It's clear to see that. I mean, I saw the thing of there was I think the story, I can't remember what outlet it was, saying that, he was offered the assistance of a wheelchair, when they're getting on the plane going somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And everyone said, oh, good for him. Like, just won the treble, peak career. And like you said, I really don't have an issue in that. But I think you're very naive to think that it wouldn't, if it was different people, there wouldn't be a different response to that. I saw Marcus Rashford do a book signing and people have a go at him the other day, and I know people will say, yeah, but Marcus Rashford hasn't won the treble, but I think...
It doesn't matter what you win. Raheem Sterling bought his mum a house.
We've seen it. We've seen it. Obscene, remember the headline? Obscene Raheem, Do
you know how mad that is, Owen? He bought his mum, his mother, a house.
Yeah, and then also I think he got criticised because did he go to like Lidl shopping? And they went, yeah, Raheem Sterling earning this amount of money goes into Lidl.
It's mad. But then Phil Foden bought his mum a yard. I remember Brandon Williams, when he got his new contract, bought his dad a Mercedes or something. I saw in the thing. Do you know what I'm saying? I saw Jordan Pickford almost legless at the darts. Remember that? Yeah. But it's what a lad, brilliant. If it's Sterling or one of them man there, not allowed. If it's Rashford, not allowed. So, I mean, I got no problems with Jack Grealish celebrating. Absolutely.
No, not at all.
I'm not even going down. I'm not even really going down the route of, it's a bad example to the kids. It's not even that. It's more like, don't do this because it would be different if it was someone else. On to Harry Kane. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. On to Harry, by the way, Flex. Oh, actually, yes. RK says Kane interest ended. Bayern interested in Kim Min-jae. Our window looks bleak already, whereas our rivals are already strengthening, not looking good. We will get to a bit of Kim Min-jae news as well, as there's reports that Bayern Munich have held some conversations with him. That's a bit strong. I wouldn't say like, it's looking bleak for us already.
First day.
I know. Rory C says they need to sell players. It doesn't necessarily have to be Mount. If Poch wants him in the squad, I reckon they keep him and he signs a new deal. No, I think that's gone. I think that's passed. I think he's made his
And that
mind up.
was in the report as well. They said that United are very confident he's not going to sign a new deal. So confident that Flex is left. That's how confident it is.
Sorry, the back. I forgot my charger's plugged in, but it wasn't switched on, and it was on. It started at 38%. I thought maybe I'll get through. Already on 15.
The Flecknicals returning.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. The Flecknicals.
But yeah, I think. But yeah, I still think that we'll sign Mason Mount. I'm still relatively confident. My hope is that it's not. We don't just get to like near the end. We've only signed Mason Mount. That's my only concern.
Exactly. And Jungles says, "Hey Sheikh Fleck Altans, what's up, bro? Good job. Thanks for the name change. Appreciate that. And thanks for saying doing a good job. Appreciate that, Jungles. Thank you very much. Harry Kane. Oh wait, just another super chat just come in there. Onya Kabar. I hope I pronounced that right. Apologize if I haven't. Is Eric Ten Hag going for pace and power or possession? Is it P and P? It must be pace and power, isn't it?
Maybe.
Or possession.
Yeah.
If the latter, why Mount? Caicedo can play. Is it pace and power and possession? It is, isn't it? P and P.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other day I thought an analogy about like fake, like contractions was diarrhea.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
So I don't,
Starlord's everyone's saying pace and power. If Caicedo can play pace and power and possession, why spend stupendous fees on Mount? Anthony is already suspect. United fans would be on Ten Hag's arse next season if basically Mason Mount doesn't work. Well, we don't know the answer to your question there, to be fair. You said, is he going for pace and power or possession? You said, if it's pace and power, then, why not get Caicedo because he can do it all. But I don't know. I think profile-wise, I still think that Mason Mount fits, personally, with what Ten Hag wants to do. Paul and Pogba. He didn't mean that. Harry Kane.
Yes, let's talk about Harry Kane because the pursuit of Harry Kane is over. It's
pursuit of happiness.
Is over. Red Baron said, "I wonder how Flex and Owen are going to take it." The response is fine, because after a while, I think we said yesterday or the day before that we didn't think it was likely to happen. But just for a bit of confirmation, Jamie Jackson from The Guardian is reporting this evening, afternoon, morning, depending on where you are, saying that Manchester United have ended their interest in signing Harry Kane this summer. The feeling is that the money it will take to sign him is too unrealistic. He continues by saying, Ten Hag had made Harry Kane his primary summer target and is disappointed that it has fallen through, but understands Manchester United cannot go past a certain point when it comes to the transfer fee and the overall package, which is quite interesting, actually, the language used there, Flex, because he's not necessarily saying we're not getting Harry Kane because Daniel Levy won't sell. He's saying we can't get Harry Kane because the transfer fee is too expensive, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, it's hard, really, isn't it? Because I think it's a bit of both. It could be too expensive because actually, when we've gone to actually look at putting an opening bid, it's like Daniel Levy's trying to price him out. Same price as Osman. You know what? 150 million pounds for you.
But you surprised he even quoted a price?
Maybe he didn't, but maybe Man United can't afford 100 million on one player. Maybe we can't.
But they would have known that. This is why I don't understand that though, because everyone knows that even United's valuation, by all accounts, was Harry Kane was worth 100 million. And have they just realised that now? He's 100 million, by the way. Really?
Yeah, true. Or is it a cover-up because they can't get him and they're being blocked by Levy? Just say, you know what? We don't want to waste all that money. It's too much. We've got other options to not. It's just because we got rejected by Levy and we couldn't even get past that stage.
I don't know. Maybe
you're right, though. It is weird.
Maybe it's a Levy tactic in that, well, you know what, Harry? I was open to letting you go this summer, but there's valuations, and United didn't want to meet those valuations where deep down everyone knows Daniel Levy wasn't going to sell Harry Kane to United this summer. Of course he wasn't. He's clinging on. He's clinging on to Harry Kane's the only hope to get him in the top four. So you can try and spin it with the whole, actually, I promised you I would field offers for the right price. The right price never came in, Harry. So another season here. Whereas United could say, right offers. We tried. He won't pick up the phone. He's not even returning any of our messages or our calls or anything like that. But with with the price. I mean, I'd have been surprised, as I mentioned, if Daniel Levy actually quoted them a number, unless he told Harry Kane that he would do that. At the very least, I'll quote a number for you. What's the number? 150 million. I'll piss off then, because that's ridiculous.
It's not going to happen. I mean, look, to be honest with you, I mean, my personal opinion has been I didn't think was going to get Kane anyway, and you I think you said it as well, didn't you? I'm not really fussed with the reason why. Like, it is what it is. Like, I didn't think we'd get him because Daniel Levy would just say no and wouldn't sell him to us anyway, and Kane wouldn't push for a move. He ain't going to agitate for a move. That never changed for me. I still said put the money down and try, but clearly that isn't even going to be I say clearly. Jamie Jackson says that, and the Guardian say that. We'll see. You never know. Sometimes things change, but you never know. Maybe Harry Kane might get a bit more agitated after he thinks about his future. Say, listen, I actually want to go. And he might give Man United some encouragement, and his agent or his brother or whoever looks after him may get in contact with Man United. Said, listen, we can make this happen if you just bid, even if it's just 95 to get the ball right. Just bid, and we can do the rest. You don't know. Things change in a transfer window, but to be honest, I've never thought we'd get Harry Kane. I've never thought we would. And really, the bigger picture is what we've been talking about is the quality. This isn't a big pool right now of top strikers, I don't think.
Well, that pool is expensive. That pool's expensive. That's the problem.
You know, there was a line on Osimhen. I can't remember who said it. I think it could have been Jamie Jackson, actually, in the back end of what he said there. He said, let me just pull that up quickly.
I can tell you pulling it up, Flex, because you're moving kind of mad. You're moving kind of delayish.
Yeah. Oh, no. All right. Well, I've stopped pulling up now. It's stopped moving. Jamie Jackson says Victor Osimhen remains of interest to Man United, but he is likely to be out of their reach. Napoli are understood to be asking for a fee of 150 million euros. Ten Hag made Harry Kane his primary target and is disappointed that it has fallen through. I know you kind of touched on that as well. So who's a top level striker that we can get? Yeah, Dusan Vlahovic, cool, another name. But like we said, I think it was this morning, you're starting to go down caliber.
Yeah,
very quickly. Because those two, especially Kane, in my opinion, is it. That is it. That's the
the problem is there aren't many people that are certainly they're available that they're on Kane's level, just in general. I mean, for me, in terms of strikers out there in Europe right now, obviously you've got the likes of Haaland, and we're talking proper number nines, because there aren't many number nines, and we're talking in that top elite bracket. Haaland's in there, Kane's in there. Who else is in there?
Lewandowski is still just off the name. Yeah. Just one, what maybe wasn't his sparkling best season, most prolific now, but he's still by name up there.
Yeah.
Benzema, look.
In fairness, he would still be in there. You know what I mean?
He's still in there, but he's on his way. He's on his way, isn't he? Let's face it. You could see he looked a bit leggy against. It wasn't the Benzema last year that just had the world in his palm, got himself the Ballon d'Or. It looks like it's going on a downwards trajectory, which by his standards is still
some of those names you've mentioned are like, they're sort of older, iconic players. I'm 100%. Talking like players in their prime.
They were there with Aguero for ages. Yeah, Aguero was in that. It's that crop. Zlatan was in it, but he's old now, 40 plus. It's a bit different, but Harry Kane's arguably the second best 9 in the world. Because right now, you'd say he's probably playing. He scored He scored more than Benzema this year, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Scored more than Lewandowski this year.
Yeah.
He just hasn't scored more than Haaland. Has he even scored more than Mbappe?
And again, I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I would maybe, in a better league, in a better league, certainly, and in a shitter team, definitely.
And obviously, you would put Osimhen in that category now, off of one amazing season.
But that's the thing.
Will he carry on? You don't know.
Would you? That's the point. He's in that weird stage at the moment where I think he's sort of in between maybe those levels. If he did it again,
it's actually unfair to say that Osimhen is in it after one good season. Them guys we're talking about, like Simon Davis says, his longevity is essential. This new kid on the block has put up big numbers this year and won Napoli the league, which has been amazing.
And he was doing good last season. In fairness, right? You can say that.
He's building that character. He's building that. Barella to Newcastle, 50 million. Is that confirmed?
I don't know. I can check.
Oh, interesting.
But the point is with Harry Kane is that, as we mentioned, and people could say, English bias, blah, blah, blah.
No, it's not
No,
going to buy him.
when it comes to him, look, he is world class, and let's face it, a lot of the people that we are going to be going for now that Kane isn't available might not be as good. Like they're not. They're not good. Well, certainly not as proven as him. They could pay off. You never know. Højlund, I want United to sign him, but as I've said before, my concern is that if it's just Højlund, that's the only striker we sign this summer. I just think that's way too much pressure to put on him. Not to say that it won't work out for him at United, because it might. You never know, as we mentioned. He comes in,
massive pressure.
He comes in, and if he does score like 20 goals, you go, oh, we never saw that coming. That was incredible.
Yeah. Or if he becomes unplayable throughout the season through form, and you're like, I've got to start him again. He was really good last week. Got to start him.
Maybe that could happen. But going into the season with our two striking options being Højlund and possibly Martial, if he doesn't leave, that is not enough.
We're in big trouble. I'm telling you,
not enough.
Big trouble if that happens.
And then you look at the other options, as we mentioned. Vlahovic might be in there. Gonzalo Ramos doesn't have a release clause, I think, which I think is like 100 million, something like that.
And Vlahovic has not been mentioned. That's just not even a thing, really. No. And things do happen. Look, Casemiro was never a thing. You never know. You chase one target, then you go, right, maybe we can get this. That happens all the time. We didn't want,
like I say, Kolo Muani as well. He had a good World Cup. He looked good at the World Cup. Where's he play? Frankfurt, I think it is.
Would you take two young ones? Would you take Kolo Muani and Højlund?
With
the two strikers,
with the understanding that next year we're going all out for Harry Kane to get him as a free agent. That'd be the only way. Yeah,
but you'd never get an assurance of that by
but I mean with the mindset of like we just genuinely we couldn't get Kane, and then all the other options. Then again, finances were finances this summer, so we had to go with Kolo Muani and Højlund, and then Kane next year. Maybe you do keep Martial for one more year, bin him off next year or something like that. Then you've got three.
What would you guys do? Just give us a quick yes or no. Would you take those two as our starting striker? Well, I say starting as our two strikers, Kolo Muani, and Rasmus Højlund. Roy C says, when the hell did transfers fees get so? What swear word is that? How many letters is that? Get so
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think effed.
Yeah, ED. Yeah. There's some super chats here. I want to get them out. I'll just get rid of that. There you go. Why does that keep doing that? How annoying. I'm back. Kane interest ended. They need to tell players. Doesn't necessarily mean that.
I think it's humble.
Humble. There you go. I appreciate Ten Hag's interest in Mount, but we can get Arda Güler for 17.5 million and relocate funds to other positions. Ahmad says Mount is elite at counter pressing. I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is looking to improve that aspect of our game. And Michael says, what happened to Zayn Miassi? We never seen him again. Yeah. It's like Arsenal's season just went down the pan, and
he's a strange one, old Zayn, because he would come in maybe after Arsenal played and then we played, and he'd be like, Arsenal are the greatest, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, something happened in North London towards the end of the season, and a lot of Arsenal fans went very quiet. And they've got very loud again, telling how great they're going to be next season. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Red Brown says, to be fair, it's not our job to scout the next up-and-coming striker, but I think you two have tunnel vision with strikers, and myself included. No, I get you there, Red Baron. That's why I've said quite a few times that actually we get fed these media things of like Kane, Højlund, and Osimhen, like, oh yeah, United want that. But essentially, we're going to have to find some really far left or far right players who the scouting team have worked on, and then it just appears. That happens a lot. And I think this striker situation, apart from maybe Højlund, who I think there's a high chance we could get, but other than that, it's like it's going to be someone we weren't expecting, clearly, because it's not going to be Kane now, is it? And it's not going to be Osimhen. So
no,
and I'd very much doubt it'll be Vlahovic. So whoever it is from now on, it's like, what is it going to be? An Ivan Toney? Is it going to be an Ollie Watkins? Is it going to be a Tammy Abraham?
It's certainly not a name. Yeah, certainly, like I said, it's certainly not a name that, with like a month to go to the season ending, no one was linked. That is, you know what I mean? It's going to be one of those names or something like that. And I think it still does open up the door where they'll say next season then we'll go for Kane on a free, but we won't be alone because everyone will. everyone will try to sign Harry Kane across Europe. We'll try and get Harry Kane on a free.
Yeah. Fuad Kadini's army, is that the Fuad? I don't think
can't
it is.
be.
No, because he's saying let's get Ahmad and Palestri next season. Sancho hashtag failure. And Ahmed says, yeah, it's definitely not Fuad. And Ahmed says that for Kane, I really think it has to be this transfer window to make sense. Well, look, if he's available on a free next year and he actually is available there, he's still there, then you try and go for him. But if we've invested heavily and got a number 9 for big money, then what does that look like? Because then Kane would be like, well, you got that guy. I don't know who that guy is who's better than Kane that you could say no to, but you know what I mean, whoever it is.
Well, what was interesting, wasn't it, with the Kane stuff? That was the biggest point of contention for a lot of people was the price and the age, wasn't it? And in fairness, some people did say, I'd rather, I don't want to sign Harry Kane 100 million, year left on his contract. He's 29, but he's going to be 30 this year, 30 this summer, I believe it is. But they said a 30 coming into 31-year-old Harry Kane on a free transfer is different because he's free. And there's no doubt in my mind that United will have a look, because no one they get this summer, unless they sign, like we mentioned, a Højlund, and he just turns into this like complete superstar this season, where they go, actually, you know what? Maybe we don't need to get that striker. Maybe we need to look elsewhere. But again, thinking about takeover stuff, by this time next year, we might be in a totally, hopefully, different position when it comes to our ownership and our financial situation. And you can't tell me that either Ineos or Sheikh Jassim wouldn't look at Harry Kane, 30 coming into 31 or not, on a free transfer and be like, let's get him. Because they would.
Yeah.
Because any club would. Any club around Europe will. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Hit a like on the video, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, just under 2K watching live, which is amazing for this time of the evening. Risley says, have you guys considered the possibility of Mason Greenwood? That must be. I haven't really, because personally, I don't want him to come back on a personal. And we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But in my opinion, not for me. But we'll have to wait and see. Nathan says the fact Newcastle are set to get Barella for 50 million and we're haggling for Mount is so poor on our behalf. We don't deserve this. So Barella's the new thing then. What, 100% going to come to the Premier League and do way better than Mount when Mount's playing well? Shiny new toy. Sometimes you can, I don't know. You don't know. You just don't know, do you? You don't know.
Like I said, it's coming from Sky Sports News saying that, actually, excuse me, it's coming from the Telegraph first and is an exclusive, and Sky Sports News have picked it up, so definitely it's real. And they've said that Newcastle are close on a sensational £50 million deal to sign Inter Milan's Nicolo Barella, which is interesting because I thought their budget was like, nothing or not that much.
75 million,
something like that. Yeah. But they're going like, we'll just get a midfielder. It's a good signing, though, isn't it? They've got a player that played in the Champions League final from Inter Milan.
Yeah, and that's you talking about the next level that they keep,
and it's moving efficiently, isn't it? Because it's like you don't hear anything, and suddenly it just comes out. Yeah, they're going to sign Barella 50 million.
Yeah,
what?
Newcastle, they're a big problem, man.
They are,
and they're more of a problem even quicker than we thought because of the job that Eddie Howe's done. To be fair to him,
yeah,
realistically, they have no right being that good already.
Well, and also, again, their budget, by all accounts, is fairly small this summer.
Yeah.
Next summer, it won't be. If they're in the Champions League again, and who's to say that they won't be, they are a massive problem. Because as of right now, and I think even if Sheikh Jassim takes over United, I still think they're technically the richest club in the Premier League, the richest club in the world, don't they? I think.
Yeah.
So the moment they start to really, their revenue streams really start to kick in, we're all in massive trouble.
Yeah.
Massive trouble.
Fabrizio Romano has tweeted about Kim Min-jae, but he's done it as per somebody else who had an original tweet about Kim Min-jae. Owen, what is the latest on Kim Min-jae? Because Bayern Munich have been reported as interested and having some maybe some positive first talks.
Yeah, because Kim Min-jae, actually, by all accounts, it's not the first other club to be interested in Kim Min-jae that isn't United. And this is something we had said. When you've got a release clause, there are plenty of clubs willing to pay it. PSG have been rumoured to be linked to him. There's still reports that Napoli are still trying to tie him down to a new contract without this release clause. But Fabrizio Romano has tweeted that Manchester United remain in the race for Kim Min-jae, but nothing has been agreed, nothing done despite many reports. FC Bayern Munich, are also interested in Kim as one of the options for new centre-back, as called by Foot Mercato. It's a concrete name on the list. As I mentioned, it was also reported by Santi Auna from Foot Mercato that Bayern Munich are interested in reported Manchester United target Kim Min-jae. Talks took place in the last few weeks, and Min-jae can imagine joining them. The first talks were very positive, and a first proposal was made to his agent. And to be fair, like as I just mentioned, this was something that I mentioned before, that sometimes as football fans we can be slightly naive when we think it's just going to be us going in for this player. If you've got a release clause and everyone acknowledges for a player of Kim Min-jae's caliber, the season he's had, Serie A defender of the season in Italy, a defensive league, a league known for defending, the price, I think, when you into pounds, is like 40 million quid, 45 million quid, something like that. Everyone knows that that's a steal. If he didn't have that release clause, if you wanted to buy him this season, you might not even be able to get a price. They might be asking like 60, 70, 80 million pounds, something like that. So we're naive if we think we're the only club that's going to explore that release clause. And people can say, well, if it's tied up, then it shouldn't matter. But for instance, last year of Haaland, everyone knew that Man City were going to get Haaland, but it didn't stop other clubs exploring the release clause, because they went, it's a release clause. We'll have a look. Yeah. So Bayern are going to be doing the same.
It's what you present when it's a release clause. It's what you present to the player. You've got to sell the project better than anyone else, because it's fair game. There's no someone can offer more money in transfer fees. It's what you sell to the player on a personal, incentives, bonuses, salary, of course, and the project. And the project. Where does he see himself flourishing? What type of team do you have? What type of project do you have? What type of fans do you have? What type of vision do you have? What recent success have you have? You've got to sell it. You've got to sell it to that player. And you're right. There was reports that Newcastle were interested as well. So about a week or so ago. So we have to trust what Ten Hag's going to be putting down, because it's about a release clause, isn't it? 41 million pounds or whatever it is. July the 1st, everyone knows it's active for 14 days. If he doesn't sign a new deal that makes it higher, will they take that clause out? Which I don't think will happen in the next however many days. So
15 days,
a few weeks.
So,
yeah, that's a couple of weeks. That ain't going to happen now. So it is going to be release clause settings, and we have to be ready if we really want him to fight. Because according to that report, obviously take it with a pinch of salt. Doesn't mean it's 100% true, but they're claiming that his first talks were positive, and he quite likes that. We heard that about Man United too. So, it's fair game. It really is fair game, and we have to be ready. Nathan says, flex you, my guy. It's always love, but full well Barella is better than Mount. Big up yourselves. I don't know anything in this league. I've never seen Barella play in the Prem. I've never seen it. I don't know. I would have said that Jadon Sancho was 100% better than bloody who in our team? I don't know.
But one thing I would say with Newcastle,
and he's come in and been rubbish.
One thing I would say with Newcastle is, based on their recent transfer windows, no, they haven't got it wrong yet, have they? They're pretty much they're into that kind of City Liverpool territory where everyone they're signing is near enough a hit at this point. Even if it's not happening immediately, people like Isak hit, Bruno Guimaraes hit, even the people you don't think are going to be a hit, Dan Burn hit, Kieran Trippier hit. Yeah. They're all paying off.
Matt Target's probably the only one who hasn't actually because he's injured. And now they want maybe Kieran Tierney, I read as well. They might want to go in a different direction, but Matt Target was a decent signing.
But if they think Barella's good, chances are he's probably good.
Oh, 100%.
And he was good in the Champions
League. Crap, they're saying.
That's true. That is
one. That's Cam. Oh, yeah.
Anthony Gordon. That's true. Anthony Gordon, I still to this day don't understand that whatsoever. I really don't. Because I know it might take time and all that kind of stuff, but did you see him play in the second half of the season? Terrible. Absolutely rubbish. Yeah, awful.
He ain't that guy. He is not that guy. And Pimp Down said send help, says what a name. Says if Newcastle get Barella for 50, we can't pay more for Mount. It's embarrassing enough we want him in the first place. people really not on this Mount thing. I hope if Mount does come, I hope he absolutely smashes it so that we don't even talk about 50+ million. But a lot of people are saying that ain't going to be the case because Mount just ain't that guy. I think he's good profile wise. I'd definitely take him. And I know prices are annoying, but I would definitely take him. 100%.
What we have to be wary of, and it already feels like we're entering this territory again, like it was last year, is that the window just opens and you see Liverpool sign someone, you see Newcastle near enough sign someone, and you start to see these other clubs improve. And these are clubs that were in and around us last season. It's not like Arsenal or City who were quite far above us. It's the clubs that were around us, i.e. the team that was just below us and the team was just below them, sign people in positions that we need as well. And then it starts getting into, why aren't we doing this? What are we doing? United taking time. And as I've said before, my worry is with that is that there could almost be a potential of United having to stall negotiations or drag them out in the hope that hopefully when we get this takeover thing done, we can speed things up. That's just my hope with it, because that would be one last knife in from the Glazers, wouldn't it? Not only have they, as the local rivals, equaled our treble record, not only have Liverpool won the league for the first time in 30 years. Oh, and by the way, the summer after a successful season, a good season, we were really basically frozen in the transfer market where we were talking to people. We had deals there to be done, but we couldn't do them because we were waiting on news from above, and that news from above didn't happen very quickly or quick enough. And then when it did happen, it was too late and they were gone anyway with their billions. That would piss me right off.
How do you really feel? Really feel? Okay, well, a big sort of evening of news, really. Significant. First day opens of the transfer window. Bid goes in. Negotiations have officially started properly. We've ended our pursuit in Kane. And Bayern Munich are in for Kim Min-jae as well. Georgie says, what are the alternatives if we cannot buy Mount? Hopefully this won't drag throughout the whole summer like De Jong last year. Yeah, I don't think that will happen with Mount for sure. What other alternatives to Mount? It just has to be the same type of profile. I'm not fascinated by Mount. That type of player with those type of attributes doesn't have to be Mason Mount for me. No. He's not a deal breaker.
No, and it's not like Frank. It's not like Frankie De Jong when it was like 10 hours. He's the linchpin to all of my plans. He's so key. So he's not that. So if it is dragging out and Chelsea are really really taking the piss and it's going on too long, that is when you start to actually we can find other people. So let's not.
Nessie says our second choice is Rabiot on a free.
I forgot about him.
Exactly. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another. I will be.
You'll be.
I will be. As the Premier League fixtures.
Imagine the results got released. We find out who wins the league tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, the way some of these refs move, that does happen. The Premier League fixtures are announced tomorrow at 9 a.m. So I'll be live, looking at who we get in the first. How much does it go up to? Like the first 5 or 6? Oh, well, it's the whole thing, but everything. When you don't know something.
I remember last year when they came out and we saw Brighton and Brentford. We went decent start, 6 points before we get to Liverpool, and we'll see what happens. You never know, do you? You never know.
No, you don't. You do not know. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you guys as always, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.